This
Started
conference
here
will
on.
now be recorded.
All right, everybody. Again, let's go ahead and get started. My name is Don Latimore. So welcome to our weekly and a coaching call for the Elite Business League. Tonight, I'm going to go straight. All right, I'm going to go straight on a topic that I've been talking to lots and lots of people about, and I have actually, had the pleasure of seeing our business grow because we grew our referral-based business. So some of the things that I'm going to talk about tonight is really how to build a referral-based business, because ultimately you want a good portion of your business to come from referrals. Okay, but how you build a referral-based business is critical. Okay, because you'll often hear people say, "Oh yeah, you got to get most of your business should come from people referring you business," but how do you do that? Right? So I want to tell you a little story, and some of you know Latoya and I's story, and so let me just kind of tell you it right now. When we got here to South Carolina, we didn't know really anybody. I got here because of the job that I worked at, and I knew absolutely nothing, or we knew absolutely nothing about South Carolina. All right, so we were just kind of here because this was a great place for us to relocate, for my job at the time. But think about this. I was in a call center, and it was kind of frustrating. I was in a call center of 1,100 people. I was a senior manager, and I love my job. I love my job to death. But I had 1,100 people that I could not even talk to about my business. How frustrating is that, right? So I got licensed in March, or I was done, licensed in March 2016. And now I'm sitting in a call center. I was, by this point, about 8 or 9 months in a call center, 1,100 people that I could not tell anything about my real estate business. So I didn't have this sphere of influence of people, right? Because I didn't know anybody, I didn't have any family, I didn't grow up here. And so like, man, what do I do? How do I do this thing? So the only thing that I was able to do is really commit to, the things that were being taught by Keller Williams, but then just really kind of taking it, as far as I possibly could. And so I just became a student, or when I say I, the toy and I, we became students of the game. All right. So I'm going to talk to you tonight about some of the things that we did, and this way kind of get your juices rolling. And then also too, because I know like tomorrow in our market center, we have an MREA training, right, to talk about, how do you build your business for 2020 and set it all up according to a millionaire real estate agent. Hopefully tonight, for all of you that will be in that training tomorrow, I know I'll be in that training tomorrow for the second or third time I've taken it. But when you go through the process of setting up, what do you want your business to look like in the upcoming months or next year, I want you to keep some of these things that I'm talking about tonight at the forefront of your mind. All right, because it's always a strategy that I go back to figure out, am I doing some of the things correctly in order to build our business? All right, because I want you to think about this. What separates the average agent and some of these top producing agents that are doing millions and millions and millions of dollars, each year, is because of how they're approaching their business, and then what they do when they get knocked down as they're going through that process of actually building their business up. All right. So again, let me talk through about how do you build a referral-based business. All right. So first and foremost, I want you all to think about the business that you want to build. Okay. And I'm going to take it even further than that. But again, I want you to think about the business that you want to build. Do I want to build $1 million business? Do I want to build a business that's 100,000 or wherever it is? Think about that business you want to build. All right. Once you figure out that business that you want to build, I want you to then think about, is it a business that you one day want to sell? Oftentimes you have real estate agents that start their real estate careers, and when they start their real estate careers, they're just thinking about selling real estate. But no, remember the whole focus of, being, part of Keller Williams and the Elite Business League, we're talking about innovative real estate entrepreneurs and how can you expand? How can you build this thing to where you're creating a business internally and you're building it in a way in which you can one day sell that business. Okay. So again, some of the things I'm going to talk about here tonight will help you throughout that process. All right. So again, I'm going to give you some steps. And so here we go. We're going to move straight. All right. So I want you to focus. Here's number one. Focus on feeding your database daily. The only way that you're going to build a big database, because the strength of your database will be the strength of your referral-based business later on down the line. It's a fact that there's data behind this that says for every 12 people that are in your database, 2 referral sales should come out of it. Let me say that again. For every 12 people that are in your database, you should get 2 sales out of it. All right. So, again, how do you feed that or how do you cultivate that? I'm going to go over that as well in a bit. But first, you got to figure out, how do I feed my database in such a high level to where I can even get to that? All right. So if you're not feeding your database on a daily basis, and I don't care how small it is, your numbers, right? I don't care if it's 2 people, 3 people, however many it is, you've got to be feeding that database every single day, right? So I like to feed our data, for me, at least 5 people a day, 5 to 10 people a day, minimum 5. So I'm constantly trying to push people inside of there, because I know that ultimately the strength of the organization is going to be based off what's in that database. All right. So you've got to be feeding it daily. So if you've went through our Ignite training, we talk about the daily 10-4, and I'm not going to dig into, the daily 10-4 or anything like that. Just subscribe to it. All right. Subscribe to it. And if you're not subscribing to the daily 10-4, which is just a mechanism of how you're going to feed your database every single day by the number of contacts, the touches, and those things. If you're not going to subscribe to that, subscribe to something that's going to at least be feeding your database every single day. I used to be with a network marketing company years ago, and they used to talk about, at least do 2 exposures a day. Expose at least 2 people, because anybody can do at least 2 exposures a day. But with our information age nowadays, right, and there's people on social media and the people we come across, it's a whole lot easier to talk to at least 10 people a day. It just depends on how you do it. And now even in our BOLD training, they're incorporating text messaging in there. So really, focusing on doing 10 is not as difficult as it used to be, but at least feed that database as much as you can every single day to put people inside of there. All right, so that's the very first thing, because you can't get a bunch of referrals out of people that are not in that database. It doesn't happen. All right, so that's why that's step 1. All right, once you have people that are in there, all right, now here's critical. This is what's critical. You've got to put people on a campaign that's going to allow you to be able to follow up. That is your CRM. All right. So our E-Edge, and now it's going over to Command, right? But I want to talk a little bit more about E-Edge, because that's what a lot of us are more familiar with. And then I want you to start connecting the dots with Command. But here's the deal. All right. There's something that's called a 33 touch. Okay. It's called a 33 touch. So part of a 33 touch, that is a campaign that you throw people on. First, you throw people on what you may call like an 8x8 campaign, which, once you put them inside of your database, you can organize the folks to where they automatically start to get some emails from you. Great. Okay. So over a small period of time, maybe a few weeks, they've gotten at least 8 emails from me or from you. Right. And then they automatically transition into the 33 touch campaign, to where it's a little bit more of an interval, and they're getting more interval type touches over a 1-year period. All right. I'm just giving you information that's from the MREA. All right. So once LaToya and I subscribed to this, and we said, you know what, clearly there's people that came before us that have figured this out. We don't have to try and reinvent the wheel. We just got to be great copycats. I say this all the time. It's okay to be a good copycat as long as you're copying the right cat. All right. So if there's people who done figure this out, there's no reason why we need to try and reinvent the wheel. All right. So, all right, we've got everybody. We're feeding this database. All right. Once they're in the database, we're going to throw them on a quick 8x8, campaign. Allow me to get back in contact with them really fast. And, afterwards, they're going to start getting drip from us. They're going to start getting drips. All right. And which is more emails, email drips from us. All right. But it's not just emails. All right. It's a series of emails, and then let that CRM tell you, okay, make a phone call to some of these people. All right. And once you're making a phone call to some of these people, or you're doing whatever you can just to stay in contact with some of these people, some way, somehow, in some interval. All right. You may call, everybody in your database that's in that, kind of group, right? You may call them, once a quarter. It doesn't matter. Send them a postcard, right? And there's different systems and different ways in which you can do this. You're just making sure that the people that are inside of your database, you've got a mechanism to where they're constantly seeing your face. They're connecting the dots between real estate and you. That's the main thing, right? If you got a bunch of people that's on your Facebook page, if they're seeing everything else, I see people's Facebook page. It is amazing. I see people's Facebook page, and they're real estate agents, and there's nothing that I can tell on their Facebook page that says that they're a real estate agent. There's no way that you can create a referral-based business if people don't know what you do. If people have absolutely positively no clue that you are a real estate agent, then you will not build a referral-based business. Get that out of your head, all right? But understanding that you are a walking business, all right, because you're 1099, you're the CEO, the CMO, the CFO of your business. Once you understand this, then the doors will start to open up for you. You say, oh, I get this. This is not as hard as what I thought. I just got to talk to as many people as I can, flood my database with as many people as I possibly can, put them on these campaigns that were already pre-designed for me. I don't even have to reinvent the wheel, and then just follow up with people. That's all I have to do. And then as I'm following up with people, just call them and see how they're doing. You don't even have to be pretty with it. The one thing that a lot of people do is they don't even connect with people. All you got to do is just call somebody. Call them and see how they're doing and say, hey, you know what? I'm still in real estate. You know anybody? Just following that simple step could at least remind people that you are in real estate. All the rest of the stuff is, extra stuff that makes it even that much more better. But those are some of the things that you want to do, all right? Get them inside of your database to where it feeds it. Now, again, in command, it's going to be even that much more, all right? And so once somebody's inside of your database and you're connecting with people, then that's when you're making sure that, hey, that it's real easy for them to find you, okay? Again, so now we're talking about how do you build a referral-based business. If it's hard for somebody to find you, then guess what? Then they're not going to be able to find you when they find somebody who needs you, their family member, their friend. I don't know. I can't remember where that person is. So guess what? All right. So we've made it to where it's so easy to find us. It's ridiculous. All right. So I have, domains all over the place to where it's easy to find the Latimore group. All right. I've made it easy on Facebook to where it's easy to find the Latimore group. On social media, it's easy to find the Latimore group. All right. I'm always at the market center. Hey, it's easy to find the Latimore group. I'm always just putting in my name in Google to see what pops up to see, hey, do I've got to do a little bit more to where somebody puts in Donald Latimore or Toya Latimore, what's going to pop? You got to make it to where it's easy for people to find you. Because when people are out and about, they're going to say, who was that real estate agent again? Oh, yeah, I kept getting these emails from them. Oh, yeah, that person who called me. Oh, yeah, that's right. Let me go ahead. And as long as it's easy for somebody to find you, magically what's going to happen? You're going to start getting phone calls. And so, again, those are some of the things you want to do. I want to keep going. All right. So, number one, you want to focus on feeding your database. All right. Number two, you want to put everybody in your CRM. All right. To where they're getting your stuff regular intervals from you. All right. Now, remember, that's got to be, very, very systematic. All right. Now, the third thing, which I would say is very, very critical, and I've done some trainings on this before, is you've got to be able to round it out with having a great to being able to provide a great customer experience, so where people can talk about that great customer experience. Okay, if you have a bunch of kinks in your chain, all right, so that means that you're working with somebody, and when they're working with you, it's hard to do business with you. You don't know what you're doing because you haven't went to any trainings. You weren't asked the right questions. You're not connected with the right people, and people get frustrated. That frustration is going to come out more than anything else. So you're not really protecting your name from a customer experience aspect. All right. So now if you provide somebody with a great customer experience, it's just like anything else. People are going to talk about you. Okay. Let me tell you a story. All right. So we've got a neighborhood that we are now on our fourth home that we're sold. And we just got a phone call from one of the other neighbors inside of that neighborhood. And just the other day, so Toya was talking to, the seller. And when she was talking to the seller, she said, hey, how did you find us? He said, hey, look, here's the deal. We've seen that y'all have sold 4 homes in this neighborhood, and half this neighborhood is talking about you guys. And half people saying when they're ready to sell, they're calling you guys. Man, we were like, whoa, that's great, right? Because we focused on the customer experience of the folks that we're working with there. And we made sure that we were always top of mind of the people inside of that neighborhood. That's what you want, right? So now what happens is these people, because they know us, with real estate, and it's easier for us and it's easy for people to get in contact with us. So now as they're at church or work, just like you're talking about in Bold, as people are at church and work, what's going to happen? Boom. People are going to be talking about you. All right. All these people are going to be talking about you. People are going to be referring, business to you and those types of things. All right. Now, number 4. All right. So if you're writing this down, I'm going to, I'm going to cover this, all the steps again. But number 4, all right, now listen to this, is only connect yourself with stuff that's positive. All right. Let me say that again. Only connect yourself to stuff that's positive. All right. If you're connecting yourself with a bunch of negative things, right, I don't care how small, if you connect yourself with a bunch of negative things, nobody's going to want to do business with you. And if they do, it's going to be just a small few people that want to do business with you. All right. So you got to protect your name because that's part of your brand. All right. So, and because people are people. All right. So just these 4 things, we just focus so much on these 4 little things. And again, there's more things up in between there, but high level, these are the 4 things. These are the 4 things. You dump a bunch of stuff inside of your database. You cultivate that database as much as possible. You interact with the folks that are in your database. How you do that, they may come in different forms, but you're interacting with those folks as much as possible. You provide a great customer experience to the people that you're working with. And guess what? You're only connecting yourself with people that are positive. So what happens is when people think real estate, they think you. Because everywhere they see positive stuff. Think about what's on my Facebook pages. I know most of you see stuff that's on my Facebook page. What do I post on there all the time? I may post stuff every, maybe once a week or so about some of the properties that we're selling. But other than that, I may post stuff maybe once a week or something like that about my children or whatever. But other stuff is about some event that we're in, or about some entrepreneur or some other program that I'm supporting, some new partnership. Because guess what? I want people to see the positive stuff that I'm doing. And then, oh yeah, by the way, when I post stuff about real estate, that's right, that guy does real estate. Look at all the great stuff that him and his team are doing. Right? So that's how you just build a referral-based business. We get a ton of calls right now, from people that are just referring us business, or they knew us before. And it's just incredible. In the last 3 years, now again, to some people this may not be a lot, but in the last 3 years, I think we're probably somewhere around the $18, $19 million in the last 3 years sold. And this year is going to be the biggest. I think we're going to probably surpass over 10 by the end of this year. All right. And most of that came when me and Toya was dual careers. So that definitely, it can be done, right? As you're going through building your business, focusing on how do you build it to get to a company that one day you can sell it. But in order to be able to do it, you've got to dump, you've got to dump the business in so you can cultivate it. Remember, I say this, you got to plant the seed and let it cultivate before the harvest. Don't think that you're going to be able to always go from start to harvest. So as you're out there doing your open houses, as you're out there talking to people out in the marketplace, understand this. Your job is to work through as many people as you possibly can, because as you're working through them, you're providing them great customer experience to get to the next person. And guess what? All them people tend to get to know you, talk about you, because you're providing great customer service. And guess what? Now you're connecting people to a bunch of possibilities. And guys, that's some of the things that you want to be able to do when you're going to build a big referral-based business. All right, so I just, gonna keep it simple. All right, keep it simple as much as possible. Guys, my computer, I don't know if y'all can still see my screen. My computer just kind of went down. All right, so I want to just kind of pause with that. All right, I'll say it again real quick. The 4 things, focus on feeding your database. 2, put everybody on a CRM or in your CRM on like a 33-touch campaign. That's something that's provided by KW, right? Provide great customer experience and only connect yourself to stuff that is positive, because that's part of your branding. All right. So I'm going to pause here. I didn't want to make this one too complicated, because sometimes I think we overcomplicate the things that are so simple in building our business. All right. But I do want to just kind of pause here right now and just ask, does anybody have any questions about anything that I talked about here tonight regarding building a referral-based business, or if anything that you've tried and it hasn't quite worked, or something that has worked out well for you and you just want to talk about it and share it. All right, anything that you want to talk about here at right now, I'll open up the floor. Anything at all. All right. Hey, I see lots of people kind of on there. Let me check this chat here, because sometimes people throw some stuff in the chat. Sometimes people text me during these calls. Let me check everywhere. Sometimes people are much quieter there. All right. So, hey, here's the deal, guys. Remember, we're in the 4th quarter. All right. And this is an awesome time for you to be able to build your business. It was interesting. Toya said it was just this morning. So I want to share the message that she shared with me today. Because, if you've spent any time around me and my wife, you know that we're both 2 A-type personalities, and we are firecrackers, right? But she said something today that was really interesting. And she said, you know what, Don? She said, it's funny. So many people think that nobody buys houses in the 4th quarter. And just in a few days, we're about to put 2 or 3 of our houses that we've had for sale, under contract. And people think that, people don't buy houses. And then we got a bunch of other people that are just kind of calling us. And a lot of, some of the buyer agents that, on our team and stuff, they've got lots of, stuff, under works. And she says, man, it's interesting. People don't think that people buy houses in the 4th quarter, but we see what's happening right now. People definitely buy houses in the 4th quarter. I said, yeah, they do. And so I want all of you to remember that I always say it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. All right. And how you're going to finish 2019 can help be your launching pad into 2020. Okay. So don't let your foot off the gas at all. Right. Yeah, I say this all the time too. When everybody else slows down, a lot of people are slowing down right now in this industry. While everybody else is slowing down, I want you all to speed up. Speed up, put your foot on the gas to where you make this 4th quarter so huge, so big, to where when you start 2020, you're going to be like, man, this is incredible. This is awesome. And you can do it. And don't let nobody else tell you that you cannot do this. All right. Lastly, I just wanted to say this, and again, I'll open it up if anybody has any last thing. Again, this will be a short call. I just wanted to talk about the simplicity about building a referral-based business. All right. Also, too, remember during the first quarter of 2020, we have family reunion that is coming up, with Keller Williams. You want to be inside of the room, or you want to be at that event. All right. That event, it really changed the trajectory of what we did in 2019. All right. While we were at that event, Toya and I, man, we were doing some game plan. We were very strategic, about the breakout sessions that we attended. But it was like we were like game planning the whole entire time. And we said, you know what, we're not, this was an investment in our business, but we need to make sure that it yields some really big dividends and we get a lot out of it. And we came back on fire and we just executed. All right. And so I really urge everybody here to be at that event, be in Texas and at the family reunion. I think it's in February. I got to go back and check the dates. But be at that event. Plan it. All right. I want to see as many people in EBL at that event. But right now, let's focus. And if you say, hey, you know what? I don't have as much money right now in order to be able to buy the ticket. The ticket's $750. All right. But it'd be so worthwhile. If you're having a hard time right now with purchasing your ticket, then what I want you to do is I want you to hustle hard right now. I want you to take massive action right now because you want to be at that event because it's going to change your life. I guarantee you. Okay. So you hustle hard right now, sell a few homes, put some money aside to be at that event. And I will tell you, 2020 is going to be even that much more better. All right. So with that, again, I'll pause one more time. Let me just kind of pause. Let me pause. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Anything? All right. So before I close this out, I want to highlight one thing about building a referral-based business. Because, I don't want anybody to think that I was kind of negating referrals from agents. Okay, I have it written down, but I forgot to talk about this. I didn't leave out, joining our referral network. That was an obvious thing. Make sure you join our referral network too. But I wanted to basically spend more time tonight talking about, feeding your database and how to cultivate that. All right, as opposed to hopefully relying on agents from all over the place trying to, refer your business that way. Right. You want to build a referral-based business from your contacts internally that you're building on a consistent basis. Yes, do the whole referral thing, but there's a way for you to get a good portion of your business from building a big database. All right, so I just want to preface that, so I don't want to confuse anybody before I got off the line. All right, so with that, hey, I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all that you do. These calls, just as a reminder. Remember, I want y'all to be able to, ask me any questions on these calls, share your experiences, do all kind of stuff. Our previous calls that we've had, if they were recorded, sometimes they're not, but if they're recorded, they're on that front page of the Elite Business League website. So if you missed any of our recent calls, go back to there, listen to some of these calls. Map out your game plan and incorporate as much as you possibly can inside your business. I'm here for all of you, and so are so many other people in EBL. And just remember, too, I don't know everything. I'm a student at a game, so I learn from all of you just as much as vice versa. All right, so I appreciate when y'all have stuff to share with me as well. I'll call her out, right now. Valicia, who's, kind of on our team, she's always, sharing some stuff from a social media aspect and some of the other things, from some of the folks that she's connected with. That's what, playing team is all about. All right. So, let's learn together and we'll grow together. But, at the end of the day, we're going to do this together. So let's continue to keep sharing our experiences and let's do this. All right. And let's have an awesome fourth quarter. I keep saying that, but I really believe that a lot of people are going to do that so we can have a launch pad into 2020. All right. So with that, hey, I appreciate everybody and all that you do every single day. So take care, take charge. I'll see everybody at the top. Y'all have a great and awesome week.